Who could you become if your fears didn't exist? Let that guide you and integrate your fears into your intentions this new moon in Leo. That's the message from the moon on this new moon in Leo, July 24th, 2025. Not gonna lie, it's a bit heavy. But I see why the moon is saying that about fears. And here's the thing, it doesn't have to be awful. In fact, we're going to do it the easy way. Hi, I'm Laura Kusto, and I'm here to help you use the lunar cycles and astrology to make sense of the world, to calm down any overwhelm by tapping into the movements of the heavens, understanding their energies, and finally reach that moment of liberation where you say, oh, that's why I feel that way. And then you can move forward with confidence and clarity. Now, the first foundational piece of doing this, work with the moon, is to actually start following the moon. And to help you do that, I created a free guide called the Moon Phase Compass. In that guide, I give you the 3 simple steps that I use to work with each and every moon phase. It's super foundational, super easy, and totally free. You can grab that at lauracusto.com/guide or go to the link at the top of the show notes. All right, with that, let's get into this Leo new moon and what the moon is guiding us towards as we set these new intentions and goals for our life. There's an element, yes, of facing our fears with this one, and that's because this new moon is directly opposite Pluto. Pluto is the planet that represents what is hidden, what's in the shadows, deep and dark. So usually those are our fears, or our fears are included in that, right? And here's the thing with fear. The longer you let it sit there and fester and don't do anything to address it, well, fear starts to control you. So now let's bring it back to the new moon here. We're talking about control with Pluto, fear, but this new moon is happening in Leo. Leo is the sign that is ruled by the sun, and the sun is right there with the moon. That's what happens at a new moon. The moon and the sun are together. Now, when I think about Leo and the sun being its rulership, and I think about all the characteristics of Leo, it's generosity, it's joy, it's exuberance, it's love, it's peace, and it's freedom. The last thing I think of is control. So what we have set up here at this new moon, and again, the new moon is in Leo. It's asking for you to embrace this version of you that's bright and beautiful like the sun. And you've got fear from Pluto staring you in the face because they're right across from each other up in the sky. But here's the thing. As I looked at the rest of the planetary energies, I realized we've got so much good, harmonious energy going on that facing our fears throughout this entire journey that this new moon is starting is actually what the universe wants us to do, because the universe is going to support us throughout the entire journey. And this entire journey is going to last 18 months until the full moon, and then 27 until the last quarter when we reconcile it. So let's get into this. How are we going to make it easy? I'm going to take you through 3 steps. So first, step 1, we're going to let our fears be seen. So that's what we need to do with any sort of opposition up in the sky. So literally, if I am the earth, my head is the earth, and I were to look up at the sky, you would have the sun and the moon on one side, and you would have Pluto on the other. And what they're doing is they're sort of battling it out. It's a fight. It's a push-pull, push-pull. And anytime you have a fight, if you just think about a fight with another person, how do we resolve it? You don't resolve it by sticking your ground. We resolve it by listening to one another and by feeling seen by the other person and being heard by the other person. So our first step is to acknowledge those fears that we have when we think about our dreams for our life and what we want to accomplish for this area of life that Leo represents and oversees for us. And by the way, if you want to know how to find that part in your chart, I've got 2 great ways for you to now do that. The first is through a brand new course that I have called Moon Map. And then the second is through my monthly membership, the Moon Chat membership. I'll put a link for those at the top show notes, and you can go check out all the details for them. But regardless, even if you're not focused on the area of life just yet, but you're working with setting intentions, you've got these Leo themes. And so in order to make the most of this particular new moon in Leo, in July of 2025 and use the energies they're going to be present throughout this entire journey at this degree of Leo as this unfolds over the next couple years, you're going to have to acknowledge your fears, because that is your key to growth, right? All these new moon journeys, all the way through all the phases, you want to achieve a new goal, right? You want your life to get better. If you don't acknowledge your fears and you're not willing to look at them honestly and openly, you're not going to capitalize on this energy. So just befriend your fear, right? It's in this fight. It just wants to be seen. It just wants to be acknowledged. So acknowledge it. Step 2 is to ask yourself the question, who could I become if my fears didn't exist? Back to that first question that the moon is asking you. So really lean into that question. Acknowledge what is possible without your fears. So imagine your fears gone and then think, who would I be? Who could I be? Look at people that you admire, who you imagine don't have these fears. And think about what it would be like to have that kind of success. Really allow yourself to dream and feel what it would feel like to have what you would like to have if this fear didn't exist. Okay? Now, the reason I say dream is because dreaming is a big part of working with the new moon. We want to settle in and really allow our minds to run wild and come up with a big, lofty goal. But the second reason that I bring it up is because Neptune is making a harmonious aspect to this new moon as well. And it's also making a harmonious aspect to Pluto, the fears. And so Neptune is sitting there and it's helping us do that. It's literally encouraging you to do that, to dream about your fears a bit here, dream about what you're afraid of. But the key here with step 2 is to, again, really allow yourself to feel what it would feel like to be that successful, because the moon works in energetics. And so your feelings matter. You can go through the motions, you can do the thinking, but if you're not actually feeling how it would feel to be that successful and feel that fear eliminated, you're only going part way. All right, now step 3 is to realize that you are supported. You are supported on this journey of facing your fears. And I'll get into that here in a second. But knowing you are supported, let that build your confidence, okay? Countless people, if you look back through history, have faced their fears. You know, those are the stories that inspire us. So people really, they do it every day. And in the end, at a minimum, when you face your fear, you always obtain a greater sense of self, peace of mind, you get personal growth. But on top of that, that should be motivating enough, right? But again, I said you are supported. There are so many planetary energies on this new moon. Again, I talked about Neptune helping us dream and imagine. And Saturn is also right next to Neptune. And Saturn oversees our structures and our responsibilities. And it's very realistic. Saturn is also currently retrograde, and it will be retrograde through the end of November. And when it goes retrograde, what we're doing is we're going back over and we're reconsidering things. And so any themes around fear that come up for you now as you're considering this new moon, chances are you've thought about them before. They're not brand new. And Saturn right now is going to give you help in re-examining your structures around them and your thought processes around them. And then we have Uranus, the planet of surprise and unexpected breakthroughs, unexpected solutions. That is also making a positive aspect to this new moon and to Pluto. The planets are positioned to support you right now as you are dreaming into this. Not only are they positioned to support you, but the fact that they are positioned that way means they want to support you. They're calling you to do this. They're saying, hey, we're up here right now, and this new moon is opposed this really kind of dark planet, which will bring up some fear. But hey, guess what? There's a whole bunch of us who are here to help support you in really harmonious ways. We've got this one planet, Pluto, that's doing this, but then these other ones are making these really beautiful angles to just help and to help nudge you along. And here's the most amazing part of all. As the moon continues to work through its phases, and it comes back to this point in the sky in the early degrees of Leo. And it has its first quarter, which will be on April 23rd, 2026. Neptune and Uranus will be in those same positions. And they'll be making those same aspects to the moon. And then 9 months from that, when we have the full moon at this early degree of Leo on January 22nd, 2027, they're there again. And on that full moon, they are so strong. Those angles are so powerful. So again, all of this is happening at this early degree of Leo over the next 18 months and on and on and on. And it's there to support you. It's calling you to face your fears. New moon in Leo. Leo ruled by the sun, your sense of self. What are you going to do? It's there. It's there to support you. Are you going to take the opportunity? Face your fears. That's what the world wants from you right now. That's what the universe wants from you right now. So again, recap. How to face your fears the easy way and integrate them into who you are becoming this Leo new moon. So number one, let your fears be seen. Give them some oxygen and acknowledgement, right? That's all they want. Allow yourself to think about them. Breathe into them a bit. Step two, dream into who you could be without them. Just imagine them gone. Look at people that you admire that don't have these fears, use them as inspiration, and then feel it. Feel what success would feel like without those fears. And then step three, realize that you are supported. Again, those planetary energies are there with you this entire journey. Let that build your confidence and let that be a signal to you that you really are meant to face your fear at this point in time. I've never seen a lineup like this before. And I'll leave you with this. Today, on this new moon, you only need to take the first step. That's to set the intention on the new moon. So dream that fear is gone and feel who you could become without it, and then write it down. All right, I'll be here in 9 months bringing this back up for you. I have a whole bunch of ways where I can help you keep track of these moon phases. I mentioned a couple of them earlier with Moon Map as well as Moon Chat, but being here is a great first start. So as I mentioned at the top of the show, go ahead and grab my free guide to build your foundational knowledge. And when you do that, you'll also get my weekly newsletter letting you know when a new episode drops. All right, thank you for being here. With that too, I would love to hear from you. If this episode sparked any curiosity or any big ideas about new goals that you're going to set for yourself, drop some comments down in the show notes and share it with a friend if you think someone else could benefit from it. With that, have a great new moon in Leo, and I'll see you next week. Take care.